Have you ever wondered why we are so obsessed with perfection? It's as if we're living in a world that has set a gold standard for everything. And not just any gold standard, but a flawless one, a perfect one. Look around you. In schools, we're taught to aim for perfect grades. We're conditioned to believe that anything less than an A means we're underperforming. In the realm of physical appearance, we're bombarded with images of idealized bodies and faces. The message is clear. To be beautiful, to be desirable, you need to look a certain way. Even in our careers, we're expected to climb the corporate ladder, to achieve certain milestones by a certain age. And it's not just about doing well, it's about being the best. Perfection, in all its lustrous glory, is held up as the pinnacle of success. Anything less feels like a failure. This obsession with perfection is so ingrained in our society that it's almost invisible, like the air we breathe. We've internalized it to such an extent that we often don't question its presence or its impact on our lives. We just accept it as a given. This brings us to the concept of perfectionism. It's not just a buzzword, it's a psychological trait, a way of viewing the world. It's the belief that perfection is not just desirable, but necessary. It's the constant striving for flawlessness, the relentless pursuit of an unattainable ideal. But here's the thing about perfection. It's an illusion. It's a mirage that keeps moving further away, no matter how hard we try to reach it. It's a goal that we can never truly achieve because it's always just out of reach. It's a standard that we can never live up to because it's inherently unattainable. So this begs the question, if perfection is an illusion, why are we so obsessed with it? And more importantly, is this pursuit of perfection really beneficial for us? Let's delve deeper. Perfectionism, as defined by psychologists, is a trait that makes life an endless report card on accomplishments. Now let's dive a little deeper into the psychology of perfectionism. Interestingly, not all perfectionism is created equal. There are two primary types we're going to discuss: adaptive and maladaptive perfectionism. Adaptive perfectionism is the healthier of the two. This is the type of perfectionism that drives us to strive for our goals and maintain high standards. It's rooted in a love for what we do and a desire to do it well. It's the kind of perfectionism that motivates us to practice a musical instrument for hours, to perfect a piece, or stay up late to put the finishing touches on a project we care about. On the flip side, we have maladaptive perfectionism. This type of perfectionism is based on fear and insecurity. It's the fear of making mistakes, the fear of criticism, the fear of not being good enough. It's this type of perfectionism that can lead to a host of negative psychological effects. Numerous psychological studies have highlighted the negative impacts of maladaptive perfectionism. For instance, it's been associated with increased levels of stress. When we're constantly striving for perfection and fearing failure, it can create a state of chronic stress that's harmful to both our mental and physical health. Moreover, maladaptive perfectionism is closely tied to anxiety and depression. When we're constantly judging ourselves against an impossible standard, it can lead to feelings of hopelessness and worthlessness, hallmarks of depression. Similarly, the constant worry about performance and judgment can fuel anxiety. Perhaps most concerning, several studies have found a link between maladaptive perfectionism and suicidal thoughts. When individuals feel they can't live up to their own or others' expectations, they may start to believe that their lives are not worth living. So while perfectionism can be a driving force for achievement, it can also be a source of immense suffering. It's crucial to recognize the difference between adaptive and maladaptive perfectionism and to be aware of the potential dangers of the latter. Perfection, it seems, comes with a heavy price. Now that we understand the psychological perspective, let's explore the tangible dangers of perfectionism. Firstly, the relentless pursuit of perfection can lead to burnout. Imagine a top-tier athlete training day in and day out, pushing their body to the limit to achieve that perfect score, that perfect game. But there's a flip side. The constant pressure, the ceaseless striving, wears them down. Their performance deteriorates, not improves. They're exhausted, both mentally and physically. They've hit burnout. Next, we have the fear of failure. Perfectionists often set sky-high standards for themselves that are, more often than not, unrealistic. But the fear of not meeting these standards can be paralyzing. Think of a brilliant novelist afraid to publish their work because it might not be a bestseller. Their fear of failure is holding them back from sharing their talent with the world. Then there's procrastination, the bane of productivity. Perfectionists, in their quest for the ideal, can get caught in a loop of constant tweaking and refining. Consider a software developer endlessly optimizing their code, chasing that elusive 100% efficiency. The product never reaches the market, stuck in a cycle of endless improvement. Lastly, perfectionism can strain relationships. A perfectionist's high standards can extend to others, leading to criticism and conflict. Imagine a parent pushing their child relentlessly to achieve top grades, causing tension and resentment. These are not isolated examples. These are real-life scenarios that happen every day. The drive for perfection can transform into a monster that consumes well-being, productivity, and relationships. So the pursuit of perfection is not only psychologically damaging, but it also has real, tangible consequences. Understanding the dangers of perfectionism is the first step. But how do we overcome this deep-seated need to be perfect? Let's delve right into it. One of the most effective strategies to overcome perfectionism is setting realistic goals. It's easy to get caught up in the allure of grandiose dreams, but setting the bar too high can often lead to disappointment and self-doubt. Instead, try breaking down larger goals into smaller, more manageable chunks. This approach can make the journey feel less overwhelming and more achievable. Next, let's talk about practicing self-compassion. It's human nature to err. So why do we punish ourselves so harshly for it? Studies have shown that individuals who practice self-compassion are happier, more optimistic, and less anxious. So, next time you make a mistake, instead of chastising yourself, try treating yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would extend to a friend. And how about valuing progress over perfection? When we focus too much on the end result, we often overlook the small victories along the way. But it's these incremental steps that lead us to our goals. So celebrate your progress no matter how small. Each step forward, no matter how minute, is a victory in its own right. Let's not forget that it's okay to ask for help. Many of us equate seeking assistance with weakness, but it's actually a sign of strength. Whether it's from a friend, a mentor, or a professional, don't hesitate to reach out when you're feeling stuck, and finally remember to embrace failure. It's through our mistakes that we learn and grow. As the saying goes, failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Incorporating these strategies into your life can help you tackle perfectionism head-on. It won't be easy, and it will take time, but the benefits are well worth the effort. After all, perfection is a myth. It's the journey with all its ups and downs that truly matters. Remember, overcoming perfectionism is a journey, not a destination. Let's shift our focus from perfection to embracing our imperfections. Imagine a world where everything is perfect. There would be no hiccups, no mishaps, no room for growth or learning. Sounds boring, doesn't it? Now let's travel halfway around the globe to Japan, where there's a unique philosophy known as wabi-sabi. This concept encourages us to find beauty in what's broken, worn, and imperfect. It's about appreciating the natural cycle of growth and decay and recognizing that this cycle is an integral part of life. Consider a cracked, beautifully aged piece of pottery. According to the philosophy of wabi-sabi, the cracks do not take away from the piece's beauty. Instead, they add to it. They tell a story of time, use, and change. They are a testament to the piece's journey and its resilience. Similarly, our flaws, our cracks, they add depth to our character. They make us who we are. They are signs of a life lived, lessons learned, and resilience built. Embracing our imperfections does not mean we stop trying to improve. It means we accept ourselves as we are while still striving to grow and evolve. It's about acknowledging that we are works in progress, and that's okay. It's about accepting that failure and setbacks are part of the journey and they do not define us. This shift in perspective allows us to experience life more fully, with less stress and more joy. When we start to see the beauty in our imperfections, we begin to see ourselves in a new, more compassionate light. We start to appreciate our unique journey, our unique story. We begin to realize that we are not broken, but beautifully imperfect. We learn to love ourselves not despite our flaws, but because of them. And this acceptance, this self-love, leads to increased happiness and fulfillment. It encourages personal growth and fosters resilience. It's a lifelong journey, and it starts with embracing our flaws, our wabi-sabi. After all, it is our imperfections that make us uniquely human. So, instead of striving for perfection, let's strive for progress and growth. Thank you for tuning in to this video and showing your support for self-education and lifelong learning. If you found this content valuable, please take a moment to show your appreciation by giving the video a like. And if you haven't already, we invite you to subscribe to our channel for more informative content in the future.